I will never forget that night. The rain was falling hard. It hit the windows like a drum. I was sitting on the couch, wrapped in my old gray blanket. My hands were shaking. My heart was too. I had just seen something I wasn't supposed to see. My name is Lily. I am 26 years old. I live in a small apartment in New York City. I work as a secretary in a small office downtown. My life is simple. Or at least I thought it was. His name is Daniel. Daniel is my boyfriend, or at least, he was my boyfriend until tonight. He is tall, handsome, and always smiles. People say he has a good heart. I believed it. I trusted him. I loved him. It all started that afternoon. I was sitting on our couch, waiting for him to come home. The apartment was quiet. I was reading a book, but my eyes kept moving to the clock. 7 p.m. He should be here by now. 7:15 p.m. Still nothing. I felt a little nervous, but I thought maybe he had work late. Then I heard a sound outside the door. A soft knock. I smiled. Daniel. I called softly. No answer. I opened the door slowly, and there she was. She looked like she belonged in a magazine. Her hair was shiny, dark, and long. Her dress was light blue, soft, and flowing. She smiled at me, a smile that I would never forget because it hurt me more than anything. "Hi, I'm Emily," she said. "Daniel is expecting me." My mouth went dry. My heart stopped. My mind froze. I wanted to speak, but I couldn't. My body felt heavy. I could feel tears forming. I wanted to run, but I stayed. I had to know. I whispered, "Expecting you? But I live here with Daniel. I'm—" My voice broke. Emily didn't care. She just smiled again, a little too confidently. She walked past me. I stepped aside. Daniel appeared at that moment. He looked guilty. He froze when he saw me. "Lily." "I can explain," he said, but his voice sounded small. Weak. Not like the Daniel I loved. I didn't speak. I couldn't. My hands were shaking. My chest hurt. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. Emily laughed softly, like she knew I was broken. "Oh, don't worry, Lily. He's mine too," she said, and that was all. She didn't even try to hide it. I felt the world spin. I wanted to hit something. I wanted to cry. I wanted to disappear. But I just stood there, frozen. Daniel moved closer to me. His hand reached for mine. I pulled it away. "Why, Daniel?" I whispered. "Why?" He looked down. He couldn't answer. I felt a tear slide down my cheek. Another. And another. Then I did something I didn't expect. I laughed. A short, broken laugh. "So this is it," I said. "All this time, you were with her." Daniel's face turned pale. "Lily, it's not what it looks like." I cut him off. "Not what it looks like. Daniel, she is in our apartment. Right now. You didn't even try to hide her. You lied to me for months. I trusted you. I loved you. And you—" My voice broke. I couldn't finish. I ran to the bedroom. I grabbed my bag. My hands were shaking so much that I could barely zip it. I threw in my phone, my wallet, some clothes. I had no plan. I just needed to leave. Daniel followed me. "Lily, wait, please." I slammed the door. Locked it. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would explode. I could hear Daniel knocking, shouting, but I didn't care. I didn't want to hear anything from him. Not now. I sat on the floor, hugging my knees. The rain outside was loud. It sounded like the sky was crying with me. My phone buzzed. A message from him. Just one line. Please don't go. I love you. I laughed again. This time it was bitter. Love. Love doesn't do this. Love doesn't hide things. Love doesn't betray you. I cried for what felt like hours. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I just sat there, listening to the rain, feeling my world break. And then I heard it. A soft knock on the bedroom window. My heart jumped. I thought it was Daniel. I thought he wouldn't stop. But no, it wasn't him. It was Emily. She was outside, smiling, waving, and I realized something that made my stomach twist. She wasn't leaving. She wanted to stay. And I had no idea what I would do next. I still remember the first time I met Daniel. It was at a coffee shop near my office. He was sitting alone, reading a book. I spilled my coffee right in front of him, literally all over the floor. I was embarrassed, but he laughed. Not the fake, polite laugh. A real laugh. That laugh stayed in my mind for months. I introduced myself. He introduced himself. His smile was warm. And then we started talking. About books. About movies. About life. We laughed so much that day that I felt like I had known him forever. After that day, Daniel and I became inseparable. We texted all the time. We called each other in the mornings and before bed. He made me feel special, loved, wanted. For the first time, I thought someone really saw me. Not just my face, not just my laugh, but me. I come from a small family. Just my mom and me. My dad left when I was 10. He said he had to go because of work. But I knew. I knew he left because he didn't care. My mom worked 2 jobs. She tried to give me everything, but I grew up feeling small, invisible. Maybe that's why Daniel's attention felt so powerful. Daniel knew about my family. He listened to my stories about my mom, about my childhood, about my dreams. I wanted to be a writer. I loved telling stories, writing little notes, sending them to him. He always said, "Lily, you have a gift. Don't ever stop writing." I believed him. I believed him so much. We moved in together after 6 months of dating. It felt natural, comfortable, like we were made for each other. Or at least, that's what I thought. The first signs of trouble came quietly. At first, they were easy to ignore. He started coming home late. He seemed distracted when we talked. Sometimes, he would get phone calls and leave the room quickly. I told myself not to worry. "He's busy," I said. "It's work." But my heart felt uneasy. I remember one night, a Saturday, when I made his favorite dinner, spaghetti with meatballs, garlic bread, and salad. He smiled at me, but then his phone buzzed. He looked at it, smiled at the message, and quickly locked the phone. "Nothing," he said. "Just work stuff." I wanted to ask, but I didn't. Something inside me told me that if I asked, I might get a truth I wasn't ready to face. Then came the small lies. Little things. "I'm working late," he said, but his car was in the wrong parking lot. "I'm with a friend," he said, but I saw messages pop up from Emily. I didn't know who she was yet, but her name appeared. I tried to ignore it. I really did. I kept telling myself, "Daniel loves me. Daniel wouldn't cheat. He's not like that." I even told my best friend, Sarah. "He's perfect, Sarah. I trust him," I said. But deep down, a part of me whispered, "Don't be naive. Watch him." That whisper grew louder every day. But I didn't want to listen. I wanted love. I wanted Daniel. I wanted the life we were building together. Then came the night that changed everything. Emily, standing in my living room, smiling at me, laughing softly as if I was nothing. I felt a strange mix of fear and anger, but mostly heartbreak. After the initial shock, I started thinking about all the small moments I had ignored. The late nights, the hidden messages, the lies. I felt like a fool, like someone had played with my heart. Daniel tried to explain. He said, "It's complicated. I didn't mean for it to happen." I wanted to scream. Complicated? You call this complicated? My voice was sharp. My hands trembled. You have another girl. You brought her into our home, into my life, and you call it complicated. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. I love you, Lily. I don't want to lose you. I laughed bitterly. Love? This is love? You lie. You cheat. You hide her. You. But then I stopped. I realized I didn't know what to do next. Should I leave? Should I forgive? Should I fight for him? My mind was spinning. My heart was breaking. I thought about my mom. She always told me, "Lily, don't waste your heart on someone who won't protect it." I wanted to believe her words. I wanted to be strong. And then I realized something else. I had been blind, not just to Daniel, but to myself. I had let my trust make me blind. I had ignored the signs. I had ignored my instincts. I knew that the next few days would decide everything. Would I stay and fight for a man who betrayed me? Or would I walk away and save myself? I tried to sleep that night, but I couldn't. I kept replaying every memory, every smile, every lie. The apartment felt small. Too small. Too crowded with secrets. I felt trapped. The next morning, I saw something that made my heart stop again. Daniel and Emily were laughing outside the cafe across the street. Laughing like nothing had happened. Laughing like they didn't destroy my life. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. I wanted to disappear. But I didn't. I just watched. My hands shaking. My stomach twisting. My heart breaking more with every laugh. And I realized something I had known deep down, but didn't want to admit. This wasn't just a mistake. This wasn't just a lie. This was betrayal. And betrayal cuts deeper than anything else. I could not stop thinking about Daniel and Emily. Their laughter. Their smiles. Everything. I felt like my heart was in pieces. Broken. Shattered. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. I decided to follow him. I know it sounds crazy, but I needed to see the truth. I wanted to know how long this had been going on. How many times had he lied? How many times had he smiled at me while thinking of her? That morning, I put on my coat and walked quietly behind him. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding. Every step felt heavy. I saw him meet Emily at the cafe. They hugged. He kissed her cheek. My stomach twisted. I could not breathe. My eyes burned. I felt sick. I wanted to look away. I wanted to run. But I stayed. I had to know. After the cafe, they walked together to a small park. Daniel held her hand. My hands trembled. My mind screamed. I whispered to myself, "No, no, it cannot be real." But it was real. I was watching it with my own eyes. I ran home, crying. I locked the door and sat on the floor. My apartment smelled like coffee and rain. My phone buzzed. Daniel was calling. I didn't answer. I didn't want to hear his lies anymore. But the calls kept coming. Messages too. Please, Lily. Don't be angry. I can explain. I love you. I swear. I laughed. Bitterly. Love me? You don't even know what love is, I whispered. My tears fell like rain outside. The days passed, and nothing changed. Daniel continued his double life. I could feel it. I could see the signs. He would come home late. His clothes smelled of perfume. His phone always buzzed, and he left the room quickly. One night, I could not take it anymore. I followed him again. This time, I drove behind him. He stopped at a small apartment building. I parked across the street. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would explode. I watched him go inside with Emily. I stayed in the car for hours, freezing. The night was cold. My hands were numb. My tears made my cheeks wet. I felt so small, so helpless. Finally, he came out alone. His coat was messy. His hair was different. He looked tired, angry, sad. But when he saw me in the car, he smiled. That smile, it made me sick. He came home late. I waited in the living room. My hands were shaking. My heart was full of anger. I didn't say a word. I just watched him. Lily. I can explain, he said again. His voice was weak. Explain. I asked, my voice trembling. Explain how you lie every day. Explain how you bring her into our lives. Explain how you love her while you love me. He looked down. I could see the guilt in his eyes. I don't know what to say. I love you both. I didn't want to hurt you. I laughed. A short, broken laugh. Love me both? Daniel, love doesn't do this. Love doesn't hurt people. Love doesn't destroy lives. You have destroyed mine. He tried to touch me. I pulled away. My hands were shaking. My chest hurt. I wanted to scream. I wanted to hit him. I wanted to run away and never come back. I felt lonely. So lonely. I cried all night. I couldn't sleep. Every sound in the apartment made me jump. The clock ticking. The fridge humming. Even the rain outside felt like it was mocking me. Then the fights started. Small arguments at first. Then bigger ones. He shouted. I shouted. Our neighbors probably heard us. I didn't care. I felt like screaming my pain to the world. One night, I shouted at him. Why, Daniel? Why? Why her? Why me? He shouted back. I don't know. I'm confused. Stop blaming me. I cried. I felt small. I felt weak. Nobody believed me. Not my friends. Not my family. Nobody. They all said, maybe you are imagining things. Maybe you are overthinking. But I wasn't imagining. I knew the truth. I saw it with my own eyes. I felt it in my bones. Then came the hardest part. I started seeing him with her everywhere. At the grocery store. At the park. Even near my office. I felt like my life was a nightmare. I couldn't escape it. I couldn't hide. One evening, I tried to talk to him calmly. I said, Daniel, we need to decide. Are you with me or her? He looked at me with tears. I don't know. I can't lose either of you. I felt my heart break in a way I never thought possible. I was alone. I was betrayed. I was trapped in a love that had no hope. I started writing in my journal every night. I wrote about my feelings, my pain, my anger. I wrote about Daniel and Emily, about the lies, about the betrayal. Writing was the only thing that kept me sane. But the more I wrote, the more I realized something. I couldn't live like this forever. I had to act. I had to face the truth. And then, one night, Daniel did something that changed everything. Something I did not see coming. He came home. Not alone. Not with Emily. But with a letter. A letter for me. He left it on the kitchen table and ran out. I picked it up. My hands were shaking. My heart pounding. I opened it. I read the first line. And I froze. My eyes widened. My stomach twisted. The letter said, "Lily, there's something you must know. Something about Emily. It's not what you think." I couldn't breathe. My hands trembled. My heart was racing. What could it mean? Was there a reason? A secret? A lie he hadn't told yet? And I realized the worst was not over. I stared at the letter for what felt like hours. My hands were trembling. My heart was racing. Daniel's handwriting looked familiar, yet the words inside, they felt like a punch to my chest. Lily. Emily is not who you think she is. She is my sister. She came back into my life after years. I didn't know how to tell you. Please read carefully before you judge me. I blinked. My vision blurred. My brain refused to process the words. His sister? The girl in my apartment, the one laughing at me, the one I hated. I thought she was his lover. She was family. His family. I didn't know what to feel. Relief. Anger. Confusion. My head was spinning. I wanted to throw the letter across the room. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to believe. But trust was gone. I called Daniel immediately. His voice was shaky when he answered. Lily, did you read the letter? I whispered. Your sister? You never told me. I wanted to, he said, but I didn't know how. She came back after 10 years. I was confused. I didn't want to hurt you. I thought I could handle it. I was silent. I felt dizzy. I felt like the floor could open and swallow me whole. All the anger, all the heartbreak, it was still there. But now, there was a strange mix of relief. Maybe the betrayal wasn't as it seemed. Maybe I had judged too quickly. I went to the apartment. I needed to see her. Emily. Or her real name was Emma, Daniel's sister. She was sitting on the couch, quiet this time. Not smiling. Not teasing. Just quiet. I'm sorry, she said softly. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't want to hurt you. I looked at her. Her eyes were full of regret. Not malice. Not love. Not cheating. Just fear and guilt. Daniel stood behind her. His face pale, but his eyes pleading. Lily, I swear. I never cheated. I would never hurt you like that. I felt a tear slide down my cheek. Then why didn't you tell me? I was scared, he admitted. I didn't want to lose you. I didn't know how to explain she's my sister and we were close as kids. She had no home. She came to stay temporarily. I should have told you. I failed you. I sank to the floor. My heart was still heavy, still broken. But the storm inside me, it was calming, just a little. I realized I had been blinded by fear and anger. I had assumed the worst. I had stopped believing in Daniel. In us. Emma looked at me. I didn't mean to cause this. I just didn't know where else to go. I nodded slowly. My mind replayed the past weeks. The anger, the tears, the stalking, the heartbreak, and now the truth. It was a heavy truth, but it was finally the truth. I stood up. I took a deep breath. Daniel, Emma, we need to talk. All of us. Honestly. We sat together. I listened to everything. How Emma had been homeless for months, how Daniel had wanted to help her without losing me, how he had been scared to tell me the full truth, how miscommunication and assumptions had almost destroyed everything. It hurt. It still hurt. But understanding the truth helped me see things clearly. I looked at Daniel. I love you. But trust must come first. Always. If we lose that, we lose everything. He nodded, tears in his eyes. I know. I'm sorry. I will never hide anything again. I looked at Emma. And you? Promise me honesty. No secrets. No games. She nodded, her voice soft but sincere. I promise. That night, I cried again. But it was different. These were tears of relief, tears of understanding, tears of release. The storm was still inside me, but now I could breathe. Over the next few weeks, things changed. Slowly, carefully, Daniel and I rebuilt our trust. It wasn't easy. Every small moment was a test. Every word mattered. But we learned to communicate, to be honest, to love without hiding. Emma stayed with us for a while. We set boundaries. We respected each other. Slowly, what had once been chaos became a new rhythm. Not perfect, but real. I also learned something about myself, about my instincts, my fears, and my strength. I realized I had let assumptions control me. I had judged before knowing the truth, and I had almost lost everything because of it. One rainy evening, I sat by the window, watching the drops hit the glass. I remembered the first night I had seen them laughing together. I felt my chest tighten, but this time, I smiled. A small smile. Life is complicated. People are complicated. Love is complicated. But trust, honesty, and communication, those are simple. And those are what make love last. I turned to Daniel, sitting next to me. He took my hand. We held it tightly. No words were needed. We had survived the storm. And I realized life's harshest lessons often come disguised as heartbreak. But if you face them with honesty, courage, and understanding, you can survive anything. I whispered to myself, softly. Now I know love is not just about feelings. Love is about trust. Love is about truth. And love can survive even the darkest storms. Outside, the rain slowed. The sky was clearing. The city lights reflected in the wet streets. I felt hope. Real hope. For the first time in weeks, I felt peace. And I knew, no matter what comes next, I had the strength to face it.